American LCS Summer Split. Let's get these games going. I'm bringing the biz in the third alongside Joshua Jat Leesman to start things off. We're launching our day off with Battle of Evil Geniuses versus Team Curse. And Jat, Curse are going to be feeling pretty good after taking CLG down yesterday in a decisive 33-minute game.
Yeah, and with that win, they also gave themselves a 3-game cushion to hold on to 6th place and that trip to the playoffs. They went back to a strategy that worked as well before. Voyboy ran the Tristana mid again, so double AD carry, and this time they got off to a great start against CLG. Within 15 minutes, they were up 9 kills to 1 and had that 7,000 gold lead. I Will Dominate as well brought a lot of pressure to his lanes and was able to successfully counter Dexter in the jungle on multiple occasions. And it was an especially impressive win when you look at how far Curse have come as a team. They started this split 2-7. They're actually 8-6 since then. And
also, a win here by Curse would shut the door on Evil Genius' shot at a summer playoff spot.
And one thing that EG does have going for them is in scrims, when Curse was practicing the double AD composition, they were actually the main opponents for that strategy. So EG should at least be a little bit experienced against it, and maybe Curse couldn't pull it out against him again.
Let's see the ban on that Tristana coming out or something that maybe the composition revolves around. Let's check out the starting lineups as we get right into the games here on day 2. On the blue side, it's going to be Evil Geniuses. Inox in the top lane, Helios in the jungle, Pobelter in mid lane with Altec at AD carry, and Crepo still looking good on support.
A lot of cheers. 2 on the red side. It is Curse. Quas in the top lane, I Will Dominate in the jungle, Voyboy, white shirt in mid lane, Cop on AD, and X Special on support.
Everybody showing up quite well from Curse yesterday. We said they're a team that actually has to show up well in every lane for them to get going, not just the one-game all-star. And we said Dominate helped to get that move going. He was able to take effective Dexter's Rengar jungle. But we'll see if Rengar's not in this one, he'll have an easier time before 6 on the opposing side. So he might not get the counters he wants.
Yeah, I Will Dominate's game on Eve was really impressive.
It was.
Rengar's not your strongest pre-6 jungler, and Dominate definitely took advantage of that fact. But most importantly, they were able to play intelligently after they got their lead.
Sometimes Curse gets themselves into a bad spot once they get a bit of what they want, and then taking a little too much is what puts them behind. Yesterday, they were able to remedy that. We'll see if they can carry that play style into today. Quick bans going towards the mid lane. It's actually going to be that blue side cast ban. See if they can get something else out from Curse's bans here. There's the Trist. There's the laugh from Voyboy. Pobelter on a stretch. Don't have to deal with that. Thank you.
Some safety in the mid lane.
Everything so far besides that Nidalee pointed at the mid lane.
Yeah. And Morgana as well. It's been Crepo's favorite.
Yeah. Tried and true.
This is almost daring EG to pick Braum, though. So much of Braum being kept in check is the fact that people play Morgana against it. They banned Morg, one of Crepo's best supports. They're telling him to pick Braum, otherwise X Special will pick it on the next go-round. But that leaves a lot of stuff up. You know, if they pick Braum, that means Quas gets Lulu, something they dominate with. They're putting EG in a bit of a pickle here.
Who do they give it to? Pobelter's been known to actually take mid and just blind it, but there's really not a situation that leaves him safe enough like a Kassadin. There's so many options. Yeah.
But Gragas and Lulu should theoretically be traded picks. If I'm EG here, I feel like you want to take Braum as long as Crepo's confident.
At least to get it away from X Special. I mean, there's still a thresh in the game to be played on that situation. But EG says late game is where we're going to bring the pain. Kog'Maw gets locked in, first pick.
Hard to argue with that when you consider the huge performances Inox has had, or sorry, Altec has had on Kog'Maw. They had that really quick and decisive win over CLG where he was 6-1-1.
Yeah. Making quick work of early kills and definitely carrying it out of lane. Decisive pick, Dominate right onto that Evelynn. It's been working well for him the past few games. This would be 3 in a row if he decides to lock it in. Or 4 in a row, I should say, if he decides to lock it in. Special looking at Braum.
The Braum makes sense. If you're looking at what Curse has been doing lately, you would think they'd pick Lulu instead of Eve because they're giving EG a chance to take Lulu now, who is also fantastic at protecting Kog'Maw.
Yeah, good point.
And while it's possible that Helios would take Eve away from them, he has not really played it lately. Oh well.
He's got a lot of options. The Elise stays up. His Nunu is up for protection and speed on that Kog'Maw if they do want to go for it. They're also looking to put a support behind him right now. So they're kind of deciding what comp they want. They only have an 80 carry at this point that goes late game. Shields are going to be a necessary. There's one. There's right now overall there's two. Perfect.
Yeah, the Lulu steal away, and then Thresh, because that's really the next best support for fighting against Braum. Everyone wants Cop to do Varus.
He did pretty well on it when he does play it.
True.
He does pretty well.
True.
Yeah.
His Corki yesterday was actually pretty strong. I think that champion really fits his play style. And I'm very curious to see what Voyboy defaults back to with Trist gone. He has had some success on Orianna. Of course, there's a lot of stuff banned away right now. Syndra is always an option for Voyboy, even though he generally suffers defeats on that champion.
They could do Xerath with the Qs, piercing arrows.
Are they going to be the first Shen? No.
Voyboy mid-rise. It looks like Quas is going to be the leave out here. 10 seconds on it. They're just trying to play the love of the crowd. No, they lock it in. They do lock it in. It looks like it's going to be Quas's. He's prepping the hands.
Right
ready
on.
to throw some blades.
I was trying to ask a lot of the NALCS pros yesterday, who do you think the first team to break out Shen is going to be? Didn't expect Curse, actually, of all the teams.
When in fact, we probably should have thought they would be the first. With the style they play, who they bring to the table, what and when they bring it to the table.
Curse has found success deviating from the norm in many situations. Shen is the old norm, but he has been gone from the LCS for so long.
Brushing off the dust here.
Can do a little sneak attack ganks with Eve and a Shen coming in on her back. Should be some pretty cool plays that they have the potential to orchestrate.
It's a subtle submarine. We'll see if they can get it in. Syndra does get picked up for the mid lane. We're seeing what Voyboy decides will be a strong enough pickup here. Still has the Xerath, still has range.
We've seen Pobe out there play the opposite end of the Ryze versus Syndra matchup. Voyboy could go with that since
that's
it's
true. Just get the cloak.
Not a super conventional mid laner, more Voyboy's style of being able to run in there and create some havoc and deal some big time damage. Negatrunk, Cloak Rush. Would he really? Would they go ninjas? He's messing with us.
The Kinku order. Bring it in. Oh, she's not in the order. That's all right.
Yeah!
Whoa! Fizzing out.
Now.
Very nice.
So, even though Fizz didn't have any changes in the 4.12 patch, he was banned 6 out of the 8 games in Europe, picked 1, and actually was able to win that game. And we were all wondering who the first Fizz player in North America would be, because I don't think we've seen Fizz this split.
No.
I will be able to get corrected. Pick rate 2 out of 93.
There it
so
is.
he has been seen
I'm trying to think.
very infrequently.
Shifter? Maybe?
High played a game on it.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, I can remember it. Just above Dragon. He dove in and died in a situation.
Either way,
I
this is a
remember the bad
team that
part.
really wants to be able to punish Kog'Maw. And if it does end up going late, that Fizz should be rather threatening. This is Curse with a new pick in the top lane for them, a new pick in the mid lane for them, and a lot of diversity coming in.
I'm very interested to see how this composition works out, and we're tallying the votes over on LOLesports.com. What we've come up with from your votes is Curse is ahead, 68% to 32 right now.
But if things start going south for Curse, you can update your vote by tweeting EG win, or if they don't start going south for Curse, you can keep tweeting the hashtag CRS win, because that'll be the correct choice if they're doing well.
And starting off this game, what I was saying I'm interested to see is if they can get, ahead of the game a little bit, Voyboy's not afraid to dive in, and you're going to have a Shen stand united coming in to protect that Fizz that's already on your back line.
And I don't think the question of when we're going to see Shen was so much about can he still work. It's more about how long does it take for someone to get used to playing with him again, because it does require a lot of team coordination to use those Shen ults optimally. And it's one of the big reasons that he was such a standard in competitive play all throughout the 2012 and 2013 seasons. And as well now, if you're EG, how long since they've played against Shen? Being able to calculate when the Shen ult is up.
The window,
Yeah, the windows. It's really long cooldown, 3 minutes, I believe, at the first rank. But it's going to be a bit of a learning experience. 200 seconds.
Also, see how they play it in the early part of the game. Not the easiest person to gank by himself in a lane. Just taunt you onto the turret, and he's going to make it a bad, bad day for his pursuers. We'll see where they can go with this first play. Looks like we're going to get a regular standard jungle, if I had to say anything. Dominates on his Eve, so he may go aggressive just after that 3-minute standard start.
Yeah, back to the basics in the jungle.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Back to the even basicer basics in the top lane with Shen. Come on, Cop. He always plays a dodge game right here. Will he get hit? Doesn't matter. Probably not.
Playing it safe. It's always him. I don't know why they do that. Just
It's
like
a curse thing.
leaves it
I
up.
feel like it definitely
We can go anywhere.
It definitely exposes Curse to a highly organized strategy, which I think if Curse makes it to the playoffs, a team will try to attack this, knowing that Curse does a defensive line with Cop in the middle every game.
Right. Fog of War, Morgan, you could get a binding on that.
There's something to do to Cop here. Or even just exploiting Curse as a team, because they know they have their AD carry in the mid lane.
Yeah. Fish out of water. Just hanging. Looks like they're pushing it a little bit, but I don't think Altec's going to go any farther than just on that bottom side. So easy peasy in the start of the game. Junglers are actually going to end up on the same side here as we start. And I believe we have Cop chatting it up with QC at the moment as we get the start of this game figured out for each other.
Actually, Cop has something in his eye. He needs to go quickly, get some water in there. Something's going on. So hopefully he's all right. Maybe a stray contact lens. I've had that before. I don't even know if Cop wears contacts.
I always feel bad. I don't have contacts, but that's a scary thing. It's like, oh, yeah, my contact rolled in the back of my head. You're like, what? It did what?
Believe
don't worry. It'll just come forward.
It's not that bad.
All right.
Yeah, I've had it happen a few times. I am a contact lens wearer myself.
Well, I believe you.
Many years.
He's alive.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's not that bad. Sometimes it gets folded up near the top of the eye, and you just gotta like, you just gotta pull your eyelid out and move your eye, and then it'll catch on.
Oh yeah, there you go. Got it. Just good to go. So as we start this one, we aren't seeing too much difference from anybody except for the Fizz coming out of mid. That'll be nice. The Shen in the top lane is going to be big. We said that was available. It does get picked up. We were considering somebody would do it eventually throughout week 10.
And we've talked a lot about Curse, but we haven't talked that much about EG. They have obviously been struggling for quite some time. The team they show brief glimpses of hope, but something just isn't right within this team as far as being able to succeed. The one thing that has been a trend that has been consistent throughout all their victories is Altec. If he doesn't destroy, the team generally loses. He is pretty much the sole carry of these guys when they're successful, at least in their last victories. You look, the 2 games they won in their last 9 or so was against Curse in week 8, where he went 11-1 on Trist, or against CLG in the week after, where he went 6-1 on Kog'Maw. Everything other than that, no one else even went big in those games on EG.
And you have to question what happens when they do come out of the laning phase on top. How much faster would those games be if Altec was already a few steps ahead of the game? They're always trying to get him triple kills and quadra kills in those team fights because they're already 5 kills behind. Being ahead in the game, I think, is what really could put EG on the top and make them a contender for some of these spots. We hear it from every team. It's hard to hear it and not see it when they're like, they do great in these scrims, they do this.
True.
And then we don't see those results. You're kind of like, really? Are they being nice now? Because we're not seeing it.
Funnily enough, actually, these are 2 of the teams that probably have had the most mismatched performance between scrim and live event.
That's a good point.
Talk to Crepo all the time, and we do get some updates on how their scrims are going, and pretty much every week they're positive in scrims. They're beating pretty much all the other LCS teams in scrims. Curse is another team that kind of dominates some teams in scrims. And whether that's because the higher tier teams try to experiment on the lower tier teams in scrims with the unconventional strategies, and that's what leads to victories, or if it's just a stage fright scenario or just not being able to play when the pressure's on. There's Cop.
And there's something that Curse has actually gotten themselves attuned to as well. They were a team that had some jitters at the beginning of the games. We haven't really seen that on their up and up here. They've started getting a little more camaraderie. We've heard them talking about each other and building each other up on the desk, and it seems like those nerves have calmed for the start of our game, for it to go better, and Curse has been coming out. We've talked about those first bloods. They're mostly in Curse's favor.
Should be able to get back into this game. It's tough coming back from stuff in your eye. Usually happened a lot to me during sports. Like if I was playing basketball, someone could randomly poke you in the eye, and it takes a while.
Bad news bears.
Yeah. I do not know what happened to Cop because we're playing a video game, but he does.
Hey, anything. Anything could happen.
Stray island.
But we're back into the game. He's safe. Cop is all right. We've gotten the medical attention that he does need to be able to shoot somebody on Summoner's Rift here. We're going to be locking it back down. He takes his place back in the Corky plane, and he's ready to go. So regular starts, as we said before, Helios does have that ward. We'll see where he decides to put it if he gets somewhere towards the top side to give Inox a little bit more help here as they roll around the jungle to start things off.
Ooh, interesting how both bottom lanes actually assisted in the pull instead of making it to lane right off the bat. It actually kind of tells me both lanes were planning on playing defensive in the first place.
Yeah. It's actually something we saw, Inox, yeah. Quas was on Lulu yesterday, and he put a Glitter Lance and a few auto attacks on Dominate's red so it could get through a bit faster. So, works out for him. We'll see if anything really plays to that level 2 since they got there late in the lanes. Always love Shen in the top lane. You can be such a harasser with those Vorpal Blades. You just keep chucking them out.
He's one of the best defensive top laners as well. Very, very hard to get out of the lane.
Yeah, super slippery.
But it'd be very interesting. I mean, Shen has been out of the LCS for pretty much the entire resurgence of Lulu in the top lane. So it's a matchup that no one is really that familiar with. I will want to see how that goes. Most likely it'll just be a farm advantage, but there's a chance Inox or Quas can pull out something special. Jungler's definitely trying to turn the tides early. Dominate always ganks early. He's so good at it.
He's right at the 3-minute mark as well. Very nicely.
Oh,
Whoa!
no! Quas misses his taunt flash, and that makes them vulnerable. He's out of dashes.
Yeah, you didn't hit anything, so you don't get a refund on energy. Oh my gosh, what a turnaround! Curse going way too hard for that.
You can say that. That was just a big-time misplay. Not only did I'll Dominate take too much damage, that bad taunt flash by Quas really cost him.
That's only the 6th time another team has got first blood, almost second, as wildcard Pole Belter starts to pull out a level 3 aggression on Voyboy. He does not look like he's sleeping! No way! Voyboy couldn't even blink on that.
Yeah, so just first off, before this game, 18 of 23 games, Curse had first blood. They got shut down completely in this one on 2 fronts. Voyboy getting crushed in the mid lane and the misplay in the top lane. We talked about how when EG succeeds, it's only when Altec does well. Maybe the other guys are pitching in this time.
Yeah, definitely starting the fire in every lane. That was well played by Pole Belter, timing out the Trickster and playful entrance.
Dominate's immediately trying to pull this back. They know Inox burn his flash and he's a little low on mana, but one Glitter Lance.
He uses the Whimsy, not the Polymorph. It looks like he made the right decision. Dominate cannot tank. And he still has teleport to get back to lane. So safe on his part. Quas not with teleport. Already back to lane though, but they'll have the kill aggression to keep going on Inox. Will they stay there?
Exactly.
Gonna have to start helping every lane.
We have all the teleport top laners kind of following Shen around. The Shen himself doesn't bring teleport, so at least in the laning phase, he's harder to come back from and wouldn't have as much lane presence. They were hoping that Ignite would help them with an early kill, because none of the top laners bring Ignite nowadays. It's a little bit of underestimated lane pressure, but everything went wrong there for Curse.
Slow play. Nice heals and relic gives as they just get the money generation in the bottom lane. This is a very, very slow lane compared to the most duos that we see, especially between Crepo and Altec. Like Specials trying to hit things usually. Not as much as we usually see. Voyboy's not having fun in this lane. Look how calm Pole Belter is.
And he's not afraid of I Will Dominate right now because he knows how much time and energy he spent in the top lane, which will diminish Eve's threat. Plus the lane is pushing away from Quas. It's a dangerous, dangerous game right now.
Dominate trying to get that last
should have
use.
been respecting Eve. Voyboy needs to dodge spells coming in. No.
Getting the last use out of this blue buff probably on the gank. He goes in quite hard. Playful Trickster, they're going to lock it down. Voyboy walks it in. Very nicely done.
We've forgotten that Pole Belter used his flash when he was going aggressive.
He went under the turret.
That's a pretty nice move there for Curse trying to get back in there. I Will Dominate does always keep up his early game aggression. To keep the game pretty close, actually. 700 gold. Helios was hoping
Dominate would want more, yeah.
Stray over here. But they're both going back to base. I think that was a great move by Helios. It just didn't pay off.
He's going to be able to get a little bit out. He doesn't leave empty-handed on this.
Specifically, look at the deep wards he got, though. He got a pink ward behind the red buff, it'll be very telling to see if I Will Dominate checks that brush. It's a favorite pink ward brush for many counter junglers.
We'll see if
He has a level advantage on him, actually.
Whoa.
They could collapse him a little bit and punish here.
Those are the pings. Helios has repel, but he has nowhere to go just yet. Oh, wow. Inox is really just there to save him. They're not going to give any aggression to this. The rotation was coming in from Voidboy. Curse is just saying, not yet. They're stronger. This is the part where Curse says, let's not, when they probably could sometimes.
I do have to point out as well that that blue buff is not actually on I Will Dominate.
Right.
So it's just a particle bug that's been happening when we pause Spectator. Will be fixed in the future, but for now, it is not a blue buff.
And we look here to the mid lane now. Voidboy getting another traditional matchup for himself. Starts to fall behind. It's not pushing the meta. It's not the Tristana. It's not something that he's going to be able to take you by surprise. And that traditional matchup usually doesn't go in his favor.
So now we're in this situation where we're 7.5 minutes in.
Yep.
And Curse has been very good at responding to other teams' mistakes or when they start making panicky moves, which is why it's so important for Curse to actually pull far ahead in the early game, because then they basically just win. As far as coming from behind is something Curse isn't that great at, but Dominate is on fire right now, it seems.
2 days in a row, he lives in his opponent's jungle.
He's got 2 levels on Helios right now. Helios is about to get Ding 5, but he's just a little bit too late. Jeez. Even after getting pushed off in that early game gank, because he got that kill on Pobelter, it just gave him so much extra experience that he was able to keep up the pressure. It's really impressive Eve play there by I Will Dominate.
We'll have to see where the Shen comes into play.
They want both of their buffs. They want to invade the blue as well. This is the dangerous move.
Oh, he used it and then he gets stunned up. That's not going to be the help. He flashes into the fight. Voidboy thinks he's got the finishing damage, but Inox was already on the move with Whimsy from the top lane. It got canceled out, locked in. We'll have to see what happened with this.
Yeah, there's a question of whether Shen came into the fight.
Right.
That's exactly what this is, because basically, did I Will Dominate die before Shen came in? Because that's how it's supposed to cancel.
Yes.
Or was it the famed Shen bug that he was disabled so long for? That's what this pause is for. We will have to find out.
Very interesting. Quas talking with QC here. The fight is showing that Curse continuously wants more in this game.
Yeah.
We see EG with a gold lead, however, due to these kills recently. Get this panned out.
I want to see the replay. Because basically, it's early on enough in the game. It's basically a game-breaking bug, because if that ultimate doesn't go off because of a bug, then they would have to remake the game. But if it's because he was dead, then they just end up playing on. So that's what they're going to be reviewing right now.
Little seconds.
We'll have to see.
Well, it was a very intense fight. The shield definitely procced. And we did see Dominate go down, so it's the chance we'll have to see what happened there.
All right, I just received word. Sorry, Riv, I just received word that they reviewed the footage already. Eve died before the Shen ult completed, so no bug.
Right on.
All right. Just Shen not making it in. Play will resume shortly.
All right.
That was a pretty big play, actually, though, as far as EG is considered, because that was Dominate reaching a little bit too far.
Right. A little too far. We're still going. Going to be back in the game in just a few minutes. 3-1 so far, 8.5 minutes in, and Dominate has been trying to aggress constantly. Brings us to this matchup where we're seeing that Quas thought he wasn't able to get his ult on in the fight, going in favor of EG right now. They've pulled 1,000 gold lead or a little bit more, have control of the mid, and they'd be able to work off this even with the fact that they have 3 mid now. Maybe able to get a turret, maybe able to put good damage or dragon.
They'll definitely be able to secure their blue buff. And the dragon,
finally.
It depends if they go straight for the dragon or not. They're in the midst of a fight as well.
Yep.
When we ended up seeing the pause because of what happened. So we'll get back into this game. All quick like. They chase down Voidboy as well, and it's the dragon that they're going to be going for.
Voidboy goes down. His flash was up. Tried to use the Playful Trickster to get out of that one alive. And we'll see what Curse does get off of this. They have Helios. He's going to be able to use a little bit of Spideys to get himself up onto Dragon with the team. Good moves from EG, fast play and fast fingers to win the last fight.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at this fight actually now that we're back in the game. It was a great cocoon, chained on the stun, basically burning through so much of the shield. And yet, just as Shen was supposed to be teleporting in, it looks like. It was really close. I can see exactly why Quas would have paused the game. I'm still want to see it in slow motion, but that was the end of the fight right there. Voidboy falls as well. And this is a huge lead for EG now.
We'll have to make sure. That is a situation that could happen, but Quas needs to keep his head in the game. They know it's still straight and narrow here for both teams, and anybody can win this one in the end. 14-5 to 11-7. Dominate trying to be a little bit of a nuisance here in the top side. Double door-ins. Inox doing some damage there with the Glitter Lance.
That was a huge chunk of damage onto I Will Dominate. Even with a little bit of magic resistance, Page took that much damage.
Special grab, be very careful. Altak's quite low on mana here. He's only going to get one good Bio Arcane timing out, and then they'll be pushed up to the turret. Crepo's just trying to give some harass, as EG knows that bit of advantage is something they just need to hold. They don't have the ability to take down a turret super fast right now, so they're just sitting on that gold, make sure they can get the buys in and wait for Curse to make a mistake.
And the other team with the Kog'Maw right now, they would love it if Altek could get his Trinity Force and really start bullying this lane. As of now, just that Bio Arcane Barrage has been giving him some nice zoning potential to keep up with Kop's Corki at least. Corki definitely does not make it into the late game as well as Kog'Maw does. Low on mana, looking vulnerable. There's the start of it.
Spectral Helios coming in with the damage. Elise, Special tries to jump out to a minion. Inox teleport. What a ward did they place previously? Special blows to Flash. He actually may be able to save himself on this one. Dominate's coming down. Oh, the Flash hook from Crepo. Plays indeed.
Max range as well. That's the flashy play that Crepo used to make all the time. Really good kill secure right there onto X Special. Oh man, Dominate was just about to come and defend as well.
Very nicely done. Supports having both flashes down, so it's not like he was really losing much out of that one. You get more safety coming from Crepo in that lane anyways. So 3K gold lead, very nicely done as Quas batters down on this top turret. He's got the wards, he hasn't placed them yet, but that's going to be for the split push once he gets the turret down. Looks like he's going to be staying up top for quite a long time.
The team's turret has been destroyed.
Good thing. Now his split push game can hopefully recommence. Let's check this one out right here. It was great how they lanterned so that Helios didn't have to burn his cocoon or his repel early on, which is why it seemed like X Special was so completely dead. But the ultimate gave him the window to push Helios out of range. That was actually really close of X Special getting away. But of course, right at the end there, may as well take the ride just for fun.
Because he could. Looking around and looking down at the inventory, so 110 to 68 in that mid lane. Voyboy not having fun.
No, Voyboy's really struggling in lane. And both of EG's solo lanes have actually been struggling a fair bit. It's when we think about that last play that ended with Crepo's flash hook on X Special, the gold exchange was actually in favor of Curse there because they got the turret for just one kill because Inox teleported down and left his lane exposed. Surprising that Curse came out on top. They still have no map control though.
Nope, simple ward wins going over the favor of EG, and Helios just placed his pink. And when I see that many pink wards in an inventory, I kind of feel like a team saying, we're changing the pace of the game. Now we have control. We have the ability to protect this gold when we put it on the map.
It's a power grab of sorts. They're really just trying to gain as much presence as possible. And Curse as the team is not one that can easily sweep out pink wards, for instance. Voyboy has to be melee range before he goes for any of his pinks on sweepers. No safe assault.
True.
Whereas you have an Elise on Helios' part, if he ever needs to sweep out a ward, range champion, you come for him, he can repel away or stun you.
Yeah.
Big difference.
And still keeping up on the forward wards as well, all the way up to white. You can see X Special in the eyes of EG with the vision that they have. Helios calming down, picking up his red before he goes back to giving more farm and kills to his lane buddies. Minute 20 onto Dragon, so he might go up top real quick and then hover this bottom side of the map. 3,000 gold lead will give EG a nice advantage to start this Dragon off with.
And it may be Curse's last chance to pull back in the game. Dominate has been so aggressive this game and just barely missed out on a couple plays. He may be getting subdued fairly quickly here because Curse doesn't want to keep falling behind. 3,000 gold at 14 minutes is pretty large as far as deficits go. And the chances of a comeback are becoming slimmer and slimmer.
A little damage under the turret. Nicely done. You can actually get a lot of shots on if you trigger that at the right time and it's not halfway shooting a minion. Get another turret shot out of it. It's not too shabby. So trade over blue to Void Boy, getting ready for the Dragon. And actually, Helios is going to be topside for this. Quite interesting.
Yeah.
No teleport as well either, so they're
pretty
committing.
much just going for the turret here, hoping to get a quas kill to boot right here. Inox has 50 seconds on his TP, so he could make it. I mean, they're very clearly trading a kill turret for the Dragon right here. If Quas could get away, it may actually pull Curse pretty far back in this game. It's way too many resources up there for that turret by EG here.
They're not going to be able to push much middle. They feel like that's all right to give up. Very interesting for EG. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Just one more. Okay.
Yeah.
They're just pulling it out. Safe play. They weren't running
Well,
away.
they haven't had eyes on
Right.
Pobelter for a while, so they were a little bit scared that a Cinder would be bearing down on him. The Dragon may keep them in the game. They've still lost a whole bunch of pressure, but EG not controlling that, I think, is a decent-sized misstep.
That mid turret's pretty big for Curse or EG as well, coming in strong. As they go to the top side now, they're able to grab 2 here. A little bit of a map mishap coming in from Curse if they can get the position right and the time from the side of EG. Looks like a special will be there in time. They grab Quas, but be very careful about grabbing that tank. He can put you right back onto the turret, and they do consider that fact.
Crepo Soaks have been pretty on point right here. Curse wants to do a flank attack, but they are just completely spotted out, and Quas is too low. Plus,
but they have the wards so nicely coming in on the side of EG. Curse has been hatching wards all the way through the jungle, and EG was prepared for this fight.
Crepo is on fire right now. Those death sentences, one after another, in part because of the vision control, but getting that Fizz before Void Boy can do a thing only increases their lead.
That's crazy, and he's trying to put out the damage he has now. Instantly went for those Lucidity boots before he could finish up after that Sheen. It's getting to be a stretch here for Curse in this one. The gold lead now about 5,000, 7-1. There's a lot of mistakes that can be made, but the way EG's running down the tracks right now, I don't see this lasting much longer.
What is going on with this game? Because Curse looked so good yesterday.
Yeah.
And EG has been struggling for so much of the year. It's just like they can't hit the right stride in every game, but when they do, they look absolutely lethal. It's like EG's win against Dignitas, or, well, never mind. EG's win against COG last week, or even their last win against Curse, where they beat them pretty handily. But when they had the game against Dignitas, that's what I was going for. EG lost 0 kills to 13. Right. Oh man, what a flash by Altec.
One more. Oh, he's level 10. One more level. He would have had the raid. Who's there? Who's there? It's Crepo again. Oh, go figure.
Pobelter got to save his flash too, because the Lantern took him over the wall.
Wow, EG running amok right now. They pretty much own everything. And Helios himself can pretty much hold mid, 3v1. He's just hanging out. You guys?
I do gotta say, I am happy when the 8th place team in the league can make plays like this.
Yeah.
Because these are such nice plays that we're seeing. I really do think the quality of play overall has improved substantially from last year. But EG continued to push in the bottom lane.
That was awesome. Crepo could have thrown that hook. They could have grabbed him, but they have this top lane. They're not tunneling on things they don't need to do. Very nicely played, and they're going to go ahead and clear wards on the way out, grabbing up a little extra gold and shutting down Curse's vision even more. We're 18 minutes into the game, and Curse is about to lose their last second tier.
Yep. There's not much they can do to get back right now unless they catch a really fantastic team fight. But Void Boy doesn't even have his Lich Bane. Whereas the EG Soul Laners are working on their death caps after their Athenes are done.
Still piling pink wards into their inventories as they go back. Such a gold lead that they have right now. Triforce probably sitting on a lot of money for Altec, actually. Nope, he's not. I'm a liar. He bought that scepter, so he's actually staying safe in these fights. See what he decides to go with that instead of attacking a bit or stacking a bit of attack speed. Coming up on 20 minutes. We haven't seen much of this guy in the fights just yet. We had one attempt, but the fights haven't been on Curse's terms.
No.
So it's not the quickest communication to a Shen, something you haven't played with in a long time, to get the fight back in your favor. Maybe the split push will be something they can get themselves back in the game with, because the head-on game not working for Curse.
The craziest thing about this one from EG is it's a complete victory for them thus far. It's not just Altec and Crepo making plays the whole time. Obviously, Crepo's made a ton of plays, but Inox in the top lane, Helios with his ward control and presence in the jungle, Belter with his solo kill on Voyboy. It's all working in concert together. Crepo needs friends.
Whoa!
There's the friend!
Whoa! Double flay! The double flay! And the box! They can turn this around. Here comes the teleport in from Inox. This is gonna be huge. Glitter lance through the team. Belter's there, but they're gonna get hit up. Again, Scattermeat goes back, and they're able to get out of this one. They didn't lose anybody. You gotta be kidding me.
Curse just invests their entire team into that fight.
Oh my god. Altec's going ham on this one. Helios starting in the front of the fight. There's a glitter lance from Inox. Quas gets hit back. Crepo started this play. Oh, that was so good.
Ends up with 3 more kills for EG. Phenomenal team support right there. And really, Crepo's playing out of his mind right now. They're going for Baron.
They have to. They have everything in their favor right now. EG, silver lining all around them right now.
Yeah, you can see right here, the flay as they try to jump in. Helios, what do they do here? Oh, he's just showing us the Shen ult as they're teleporting in. Then honestly, Belter, I think he flashed over the taunt right there. Oh!
Ruh-roh, this does not look good. That looks a little bit better, but very scary from EG.
Woo. Dominate wants to try and get around.
Oh my, he's not gonna have time. Maybe?
Nope. Bad.
Uh-oh, that vision.
Oh no. Oh, that stun that came over the wall from Syndra as well.
Yeah, that was pretty on point. Everything EG is doing, communication, the game sense, the everything. 13-2 of the 10,000 gold lead here at 20 minutes in. Very nicely done.
That'll most likely do it. Now it's all about how quickly can EG finish him off, or whether Curse can salvage some type of comeback here. Curse was so set to have a 2-0 week as well after that crushing victory of CLG. But EG definitely had other ideas. This was also, if Curse were to have won this game, would have clinched, or would have knocked EG out of the playoffs for sure. But this is
Not
exactly the game EG has to win, you know?
Not something EG was feeling coming into today. Week 10, day 2 was not going to be that day that the door closed on them. That's what they woke up and said this morning. 22 minutes on the clock. EG continues to pick up more of the map for themselves. 2 of 3 dragons, and that Baron slowly ticking down on them.
Someone take it. Yeah!
There it is.
Power friendship right there.
Sometimes not even looking, and I'll be looking at the lane and walk past it. You know, Thresh is always like, why didn't you take it? I'm so sorry.
It's the worst when Thresh breaks his lantern right before you're going to pick it up because he walks too far out of range.
You got it right.
Neither of those things happened there. Baron buff with 5 people and 11,000 gold lead. It's going to be rather tough to defend, even if there's not much of a tank line.
Dominate looking for an Agonies from the backside, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it. That turret just melted.
Corki and Shen were in the base, so Dominate's not going to flank in there 1v5.
Oh, a good chum the waters, maybe a lockdown, but even if Altec dies, you have damage from Inox, who's huge.
They look like they want to try right now.
Whoa, from the backside, Dominate. Instantly focused out. They saw immediately.
Didn't work.
There was a chase too. EG is working like such a team at the moment. They all grouped as 5.
They peeled back at just the right moment.
Exactly.
They knew that he was going to be coming for a flank attack, and they pulled back as Voyboy showed aggression. Curse over-telegraphed that play a little bit, but it was, at the end of the day, a last-ditch effort.
Very awesome to see a team ahead not get too ahead of themselves, not want too much, not get greedy. EG's playing this very strategically and methodically, back and forth. They've actually pulled away from kills they probably could have gotten to take more, to get more of the map. And now they go from mid to this top or bottom. They're gonna be able to take this down.
There's no evault down for a flank. The only hope is to get enough poke down onto Altec that they can rip it down before the fight. But even then, it's not like they've had time to build much magic resist, and the double AP from Syndra and Inox is enough to kill any man.
It's almost impossible to chase these guys down. When they start kiting, you have Void, who's across an entire area of the lane, and then you have a Glitter Lance. We'll see how they disengage this one. They engage back onto the fight. Everybody goes to the middle. It's a huge mosh pit right on the stairs, and Quas is going to be still alive. The last Curse member who's looking to keep alive in the middle of the fight. A flash in from Altec. That's a 1. Can he get the 2-punch in? He's going to hit a living artillery. Oh, the save! Oh, the save! He gets him on the fountain. He says, no, you don't. The special goes down. That's going to be the surrender coming out of Curse. EG taking him down at 24.5. Those smiles.
What a game
Don't
from
get
EG.
to see them often, but when we do, they are bright and shiny.
Just from start to finish, from top to bottom of their roster, they've played fantastically. Why can't EG do this every game is going to be the question they need to ask themselves. And if they can find some form of consistency, they could make a run for it, because they get the first blood on Quas, and I will dominate really easily. Pobelter solos his lane. And that's not even the strongest performers necessarily, which would be Altec and Crepo making plays the whole game. Every single person on EG was on point this game.
Really coming out strong. The map pressure in the beginning. Helios coming out with early pinks to make sure top side of the map was covered. And it seemed like they gave no worry to the Shen. They played around him. They played their game.
It seemed like they just went right for him, you know? I will dominate was trying to gank for Quas a lot.
Yeah.
And Helios and Inox were very ready for it, not suffering a single death up in that top lane jungle.
Very nicely played. The aggression from Curse in these early games is definitely something to be reckoned with. We saw the aggression at red buff, then the transfer over to the blue buff, and that's the Curse wanting a little bit too much. And EG said, this might be one of those instances. Let's pile on our blue.
Yeah, and it was maybe Curse trying to break out of old habits. Losing a game in 24 minutes, even though it looks worse than losing a game in 50, has the same results. You're still losing.
Right.
Curse tried a lot of plays in that game because they were always trying to come back instead of letting EG slowly beat them. I think that's a trend we're going to be seeing more and more, because teams realize that those 45-minute games very rarely turn around in their favor.
Now, the story is for EG, can they hold this? Is it something they continue to go through? Because that was actually a pretty standard, great composition. The Kog'Maw was the first pick. I think they did throw Curse for a loop there. The last Fizz pick probably wasn't on the agenda for this game today.
I know. We look at the pick ban. Obviously, Curse was trying to pull out a new thing, which is what they've had success with. You can't really fault them there. But what you can fault them for is picking the Eve before the Lulu, knowing that Inox is great on it, knowing how strong Quas has been. They tunneled really hard and saying, we're going to surprise them with Shen, when they could have just beat them with Lulu, potentially.
Right.
And that was one small part of, I think, Curse's downfall in this game.
It's so easy to kind of see what the result that they were thinking, though, with the way the Tristana works, how it takes so many people off guard, but everything crumbles differently. So let's throw it down to Kobe, who's on the winner's side.
I am on the winner's side, and that would mean we're interviewing Crepo here. Very good game for your whole team. Now, you did tweet out this morning something about dying. Was it in reference to Curse, or is it in reference to upcoming playoffs?
Yeah, we said do or die. A little bit both, because Curse's motto is curse or die, and well, Curse died. So we had a really good game. I'm actually just really happy with how it went early, because Dongjin managed to find Dominate and just counter-ganked. And every time they spotted Eve, we could play up on bottom, and they were playing really passive. So even at the start, we thought they did a fake leash, because their bot lane let us push for free. So we're like, oh my god, this is like the cheese play from Curse. They're pushing it, like they're going red, fake leash to blue. And then he shows up top and dies, and I'm like, okay, well, that works for me.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you more about that, because you guys not only are playing against Eve, who can show up in the bottom lane at any time, but also Shen. We haven't seen in a very long time. What does that do to a bottom lane?
It's interesting because he played Ignite Shen and not TP Shen, so there's less of a TP worry, and you can actually wait until he's 6. But he's going for kill pressure top as well, so it's really new to play against that again, so we had to adapt. We gave a super strong leash for our jungler so he could go top early and counter gank, and it worked, and yay, happy.
Now, did you guys do anything special this week preparing because you're getting so close to playoffs? Because everybody had a very strong game. Kind of uncharacteristic for you guys. Everybody showed up really big.
I think if we get a lead early, we can snowball it. We had a really successful week of scrims where we actually had winning records against both Complexity and CLG this week, so we were really confident coming in. And then we got crushed yesterday, and I played a horrible game. Like, I was constantly trying to make stuff happen, but if there's only like one side of the map that can do that, it gets really punishable. But right now, everybody was doing well. Tyson dodged the ganks, and the haircut, of course. And Pobelter playing safe in mid, and we just had really good communication. We just knew where they were, and then we were always one step ahead, and it was a lot of fun to play that way.
Yeah, well, it definitely came together for you guys. Congratulations once again, and good luck moving forward. Now we are going to send it over to the analyst desk.
Thanks, Kobe. A commanding win by Evil Geniuses there to keep their playoff hopes alive. Now, something that both Jat and Kobe touched on as well.
Yeah.
All of those members of EG individually stepped up huge this game. Why haven't we seen this EG earlier in the split?
It's hard to say. I feel like you have to ask them for their own opinions. Some people just don't do well in high pressure. And the majority of that lineup's been playing competitively for a long time, but for whatever reason, sometimes things will just break apart in an actual game on the stage. For whatever reason, it just happens. I just feel like something breaks down. Like, I'm not them. I can't tell you, but something clearly breaks down when they get on the stage. If they keep playing like that, they are a really good team.
Yeah, I can't tell you either, but we did see little glimpses of this back when they played CLG and ended the game in about 27, 28 minutes. They know how to close games out, but they don't know how to always get that lead in the early game and then snowball it from there. That was a very, very well-played game all across all lanes. Huge props to EG for that. Hope we see more.
Yeah, well, that's fair. So let's jump into champions like that and talk about the picks before we go into that dominating performance. So, Freak, talk to me about these new picks that we saw Curse come out with.
So basically, this is Curse getting, I think, what they believe, and actually I believe as well, were ideal lanes. I think Fizz is good against Syndra. I think they believe Shen's going to do well against Lulu. Dominates Evelynn is awesome, and they banned Morgana and got to pick Braum in the first round. Like, all these things should spell lane wins. The problem for Curse is Dominate, I thought actually played really well despite having 6 deaths this game. I thought he was making really, really smart moves. But the bot lane somehow crumbled, and Voyboy died mid. Like, pretty much for free, and that is a really, really bad mistake that sets them back. And when you're a team where basically your lanes are supposed to win and you have no fallback patterns, if you get behind, you're crushed.
Yeah, your damage threats on that team are pretty limited when you have a Shen in the top lane.
Yeah.
He's kind of utility a little less so than Lulu brings to the table, and a big part of that was that we saw Dominate. He hit level 6 first. He was level 6 when Helios was level 4. He went in, he got his second red buff. Things looked really good for Curse, and then Voyboy gets solo killed in mid by Pobelter, and then the damage just stacks on. You saw how far behind Voyboy was in build. He was about 1 and 4 at some point, had the pieces of a Lich Bane when the top laner was getting his Rabadon's death cap. So the damage threats just weren't present, and they had a little bit of shielding, but it just wasn't enough.
So we have to give some credit, though, to EG
for
counterplaying there.
Yeah.
Knowing that Helios was down, they actually set up a fantastic counter invade when they were going in for the blue. That ended up in a kill there, kind of getting them right back into the game. So with EG having this, with their dominating performance across the lanes, let's talk about how they progressed through the mid game and just, closed out that win nice and easy.
Well, you want to go for it? Or?
I was going to say, it's basically off the back of Crepo's hooks. He kept getting picks over and over again. Sometimes little inadvertent picks there with the baits in, but really just all the lanes just kind of won. There was a lot of pressure that was created by Helios in the early game after that first blood, and then in the mid game he just transitioned really, really well into knowing where to put the pressure. Dragon area, bottom, also get wards on their objectives. Just all around great play and vision control.
Yeah, and I really have to commend the strategic choices made by EG. I remember there was a really specific moment when Dragon was coming up and EG sent like 3 guys top, and the casters were like, this is a big risk. Turret's not worth as much as Dragon. If they don't get the kill, they go down in gold. But what I loved was how well they played around Curse's composition. I hope this was on purpose because it spells great things for EG, is they said, look, you guys are going to have to dive in. You guys are going to have to go for flanks and try to just force battles. And that is easy at Dragon. Dragon fights you back. He deals damage to you, right? Minions can't take Dragon. They don't show up there. And they're like, you know what? No, we're going to siege top, and we're going to ward the flanks, and Voyboy, I dare you to flank us. Oh, you just got stunned by Syndra and you're dead. Right? And they opted out of the Dragon fights, opted into a turret push where they could control all of the factors of the fight. And that is such a smart decision against a team that wants to wreak havoc against you, that it was a very clean win.
It's a very valid point, saying that they looked for picks and were avoiding fights as much as they could until they had hit that power spike where they were capable of winning them pretty easily. So that being said, we're going to pull up a replay here, Zyrene, around the Baron area, red side jungle Baron area, mid game. This is where we finally have like our first big team fight.
All right, so this is the Dragon area right here. Crepo, it actually ends up being a 3v5 with the 5 members of Curse showing up. We're going to roll the clip out right now. You can see that Altec, and we also have Helios in the top lane, Shen gets here first. Crepo, he's actually baiting this out. They get the stun up. X-Special knocks up 2, but here comes the TP. He gets a knock up, and it knocks up 2 members. Then eventually, all this layered on CC here hits 3 with the stun, and just the damage being piled on and piled on. They're peeling backwards, and then hello, here comes Helios. Flash, Cocoon, onto about a clump of 3 people. You're going to hit at least one of them. He gets Cop. They go hard on this fight. Altec comes up, and that was just such a long fight that they were able to trek all the way from top lane to middle, down to that dragon area, and just a little overextension there by Curse, even though Curse didn't get a pick at the start because they were lacking the damage.
Yeah, and that really speaks to the fact that they don't have a fallback pattern, the fact that they have to win their lanes early on. Is you get a 5v3 and don't pick up a kill, things are going to spell really bad for you. And it's smart of Curse to force things like that. I think they have to keep trying, and they hope they finally get the damage in, but as you saw, you lose your lanes by that much and you don't have a way in.
All right, real quick, one final question. EG is going to start off their week next week with Cloud9, who's looking pretty good themselves. So are they going to be able to keep this playoff dream alive?
Depends on which EG shows up. We've seen the CLG versus EG. We've seen the Curse versus EG. And then we saw yesterday's performance versus TSM. You know, we said that Lustboy wasn't really kind of tried out by Crepo yesterday, or that bottom lane. But, man, Crepo, if he was facing Lustboy today, it'd be a different story. So it's really up in the air. It's a flip of a coin for EG right now.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Crepo, we heard him say that they had a great week of scrims. Maybe they'll have another one, and they'll come back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Now, we've got to take a quick break while we round up the minions for our next match, Cloud9 versus LMQ. Stay tuned for more North American LCS action.
Be able to save himself on this one. Dominate's coming down. Oh, the flash hook from Crepo! Oh my god. Altec's going ham on this one. Helios starting in the front of the fight. There's a glitter lance from Inox. Quas gets hit back. Crepo started this play.
You're going.
Front flash.
Disengage.
I'm surviving.
Biz first. Shen. Full blind. Exhausting Eve. I'm on Eve. Even Corky.
Shen. Okay, finish game.